Hey guys, it's me, Crow from Ghostly Snails, and I'm here to show you my Paleozoic deck. I have not, I play tested a good amount. Went to locals. I have done a few good things with the deck. I've constantly tested out ratios and everything. This is just the version I'm running on, and I might update the deck later, but for now, this is what we have. So let's get it. So, the first thing we have is we got 3 swap frogs, 3 dupes, and 2 rodent toads. With that, we have, this is always going to be your whole frog engine. Your swap, the biggest combo you're going to have is just a swap frog, drop the rodent, bring out the dupe frog, and you just combo off. These guys go great together, and my favorite one so far is always going to be Swap Frog because it's always a free summon, and who doesn't really like that? The next monster we run in this deck is 2 Lilith Lady of the Laminate. What she does is basically, it's a quick effect, and she looks at 3 normal traps and sets, and your opponent randomly chooses one and sets it on your side of the field. The best thing about this card is always a quick effect. So I had an opponent literally in one of my tournaments go, I summoned her, Effect Veiler, and I basically baited out the Effect Veiler, and I basically still got a free trap. So it always makes the LOLs at the tournaments.
Is there anything you replace it with?
I don't want to replace it, but if I could and I would add a 3rd one because it actually helps out, bring out your Paleos more.
But wouldn't that be like, wouldn't you feel like it like clogging your hand?
It's never really a clog because you always want to get that extra trap, and with this deck you're basically drawing nothing but traps, so it's better to draw out the monsters as well. Especially with the ratios I run, you're going to always want to see your traps.
Okay.
For hand traps, we have 2 ashes and 1 effect veiler. Most people just run 3 ash. I run 2 of them, only because I don't have the 3rd one. But other than that, because I had a game where I opened up ash and effect veiler. So I was playing against Solomon Grace. They went into Balinks. I effect veilered it. They went in. No, they summoned their. I think it was Gazelle. No, it was the Foxy. I ashed it. Then they went into the Balinks and I effect veilered it, and they didn't get any searches off, and they ended their turn on that. So it's always hilarious to just hit those type of plays.
Would you ever think of bumping up Effect Fair to 2, or like running Ghost Ogre or any of the others?
I have thought about running the 3 ash. I don't like it. I prefer it to be at I prefer this ratio. I have played zombies with my old deck, and I've drawn into too many hand traps and had a problem with not getting to negate a lot of stuff. Most of the stuff I usually negate as searchers anyway, because most of the deck's unaffected by everything else. So you kind of just plus off of everything else, and the extra negates help, so you hinder other decks. I only run 3 spells in this deck. 2 Card of Demise and 1 Monster Reborn. I've had, the Card of Demise comes in very clutch because even with the discard effect, you still go off at plus because you would draw into your traps, and then if you have 8 Paleos you draw into or have extras in your hand, you just discard them after you end your turn, and then you can combo off and get your whole field. And the Monster Reborn is just there in case you have an opponent who has monsters that can beat over everything you do. So I had a game where literally they Boro loaded, I Boro loaded, we both lost our Boro loads, and then I Monster Reborned my Boro load, brought it back, and swung over his Boro load. So it's always a clutch card to have. For the traps, we run, for Paleos, we have the 3 Candida. This is your Book of Moon and your best friend when it comes to most not link-based decks. The only problem I have with this is Solomon Greats, which always revolve around having link monsters, so I can't really use it other than stopping their other plays with the Xyz monster. Because usually they will go into Balinks into their Link 2, and then you would hit them with the Candida when they go into their Xyz play, and they can't summon, and they lost a monster, and you can just beat over it with totally awesome. For the next one, we have 3 of the MST. I can never pronounce his name, but that's alright. Basically, MSTs are always good. You want back row destruction as much as possible when they are, especially in mirror matches, because God forbid you play against another Toad player somewhere.
You want to explain what these cards do in the grave as well?
I was gonna get onto that.
Oh, okay, I'll let you get on it.
I also run the 3 Dominiscus. This is basically your best removal in the deck, especially since it also pluses off since you get to discard any card. And also throw in a banishment. So it just helps you out a lot and makes everything easier for a lot of like big hitters that you can't beat over. So you always kind of plus no matter what with that card. And then the last Paleozoic I run it is 2 of the Morella, or as I like to call him, Mozzarella. Basically what he does is he's a foolish barrier for your Paleozoics, because every single Paleozoic says if you chain anything with a normal trap, they get summoned out as a level 2 Aqua monster with 1,200 attack points. So this just enables everything, so you can basically have 2 set, activate some dumb trap, and then stop your dumb from swinging or destroying anything. And you basically get free Toad.
I noticed he's the only one you run at 2. Any reason for that?
Because he becomes a brick early on, but in the later game when you need more of a field presence and you have set 4, you just draw him and then set him, and you don't have to worry about any extra. And if you do somehow draw him early on, you can use him for discard fodder, and also you can also set up your graveyard early on. So there's never really a problem. For the other traps, I run 3 Judgment.
Of course.
Because Judgment, and also because you don't worry about life points. You either win or you lose.
Also, you can negate, and then you just chain all the Paleozoics and
The thing about the Judgment is, if I can actually, is counter traps do not work for Paleos. Which is why I never summon, which is why...
Why don't they work?
Because it has to be a normal trap. They specifically say it has to be a normal trap, which is why I don't run that many I don't run that many counters, because it kind of hinders the summons. So you always want to go into it, but Judgment always good. It stops Thunders a good amount because they go into the Colossus, you negate Colossus, and you tell them suck it, basically. You don't have to worry about most of the stuff, and it also helps you from getting out of like sanctuaries. I got Solemn Judgment. I Solemn Judgment twice, over 1 Solemn Judgment in a tournament once. It's actually a very clutch card. For other normal traps, we have 3 Compulse. This bounces. It stops a lot of other cards, especially Thunder. Because you'll activate this on the summon and just tell them, alright, cool, waste more resources to summon another Colossus. And if you have the second one set, you basically stop their entire turn. That was a skill shot. I planned that out. But it is very good because a lot of cards nowadays, they say, okay, we can't be destroyed by card effects, so you just activate this and just bounce it back to the hand.
Does it target?
Yes, it does, which is the only hindrance. But you can get over that with a lot of non-destructive cards. When they say they can't be destroyed, you can just say, alright, cool, bounce it back to hand. Sacrifice everything to summon again. I have stall cards. I have 2 Threatening Roars, 2 Wambukus.
Bane of my existence right here.
I personally want to run more Wambukus than these, even though this is still a good card. The only reason being, the Wambukus save your monsters. The Threatening Roar doesn't save them at all. So if your opponent because this one cancels their declaration, this one says you take no damage, and you can save your monsters from battling. So even Solomon Grace, where they summon anything to go into an OTK for Chimera, they can't kill you. So it's basically your saving grace. And also when you change it, when they attack, you can also chain it on their battle phase and summon more Paleos, which also pluses. So you never lose out. The last card we have for the main deck is 2 Dark Bribes. I don't like playing them, but I play them just because I hate the evenly match. And only because of that, because every single time I play this deck, they side in the evenly, or they have some card that just goes off. I play the Dark Bribe. Even with that extra draw, what are they going to do if they lose combo?
Yeah.
So, I literally had one game against Cyber Dragons, where He calls the battle phase, end of battle phase, activates when evenly matched. I dark bribe that. He draws, evenly matches again. I dark bribe that because I drew into both of them. Tried evenly matching again. I solemn judgment it.
The funny part is that when you dark bribe me, it tends to help me more than hurt me. Cause like,
Yeah.
it's funny. I like it.
I mean, so it doesn't help, but it helps when you want to kill combos.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
really sucky.
Right.
What I'm gonna really go into is my side deck.
Really, side first, not
Yeah,
extra?
because it explains the whole extra deck.
Yeah.
Because my extra deck's very wonky. 3 super polys because I hate everybody and I don't want them to have fun. When we all know why I'm playing them. 2 shared ride. This is basically Phantasme for me because I'm broke and I don't have Phantasme.
Yeah.
It actually does help because any deck that searches a lot, you basically plus off. You draw for every search, which is very good. 2 Silent Graveyard because we're changing the format a lot. Because this is going to be heavily going towards Thunder and Orcus, Silent Graveyard kills Orcus so quickly. You activate it and their turn is literally over. It also helps with Thunders until they banish them. 3 Crackdown, because if the locals I go to, everyone plays True Draco. So I just crack down their stuff, and I don't have to care about their effects. So that's pretty good, and it's also good for an extra wall, so in case you need it, or if they have their big boss monster. 2 Heavy Storm Duster, just because you want that extra back row destruction, and because it changes and gives you more Paleos to work with. And then this I want to say is the good card that no one's ever going to play. 3 Waking the Dragons, because everybody's going to be playing back row destruction. So I play 3. I only have 1 card that I go for, but I want to see it all the time because whenever they realize you're playing Paleos, they will destroy your back row and they will not care. So this is basically telling them, oh, what are you going to play? Alright, cool. Blow it up, give me a free monster. I might change it to 2 because I don't want to draw it early. I have done it with past decks in the future. Past decks. Jesus. I have done it with past decks. I don't want to draw into it early because I have had that problem when I went to Philly regionals, and what month was that?
Oh my god.
I don't remember, but I don't remember the month. But basically, I drew into Waking the Dragon against a guy playing Ancient Gears, and I bricked 2 of them.
I want to say it was in August. It was a while ago. Yeah.
I don't know, but long story short, I bricked 2 of them, and I lost because I didn't have any cards to play. So it's just more of a preference. My extra deck, we're gonna start it off. The King of the Castle, totally awesome because it's a totally awesome deck. We gotta always incorporate shitty puns here. He's your bread and butter to the whole deck. He makes everything work. He negates and takes monsters. He's literally an Affinity and a Solemn Judgment in one. What more can I say? He also summons out every standby phase, so it can be yours and your opponent's, so you can summon Duke Frog on your opponent's turn, kill the Duke Frog, get a free swap frog, and still negate and take their monster, so you never unplus. And even when he dies, he gets you a free Aqua monster. I play one of the Paleozoic monsters, only because they never really come up unless your opponent has something that needs to affect other monsters. So even with Borlo Dragon, I would just summon him, and because he's unaffected, they gotta run over it, so I don't care. And also he just enables all your traps in hand, so when you search for it, you activate it and you don't care. Clutch 2. Phantom Knight's a Cursed Javelin. What he does is when he's a generic 2, and also his skill is when you detach a overlay unit, you negate one of their monsters and it goes to 0. So I have killed 3 Borreloads so far with this, and I will stay killing Borreloads with this as long as I live.
Does it kill Bora's sword though?
No, it doesn't.
Oh, gotta work on that.
Actually, no, it kills Borreload's sword actually. Because Borreload says he's not affected by monsters. But I have killed Boros swords. I don't know why I'm switching them because they're... Konami, fix the names. My 1 Waken the Dragoning Tarkus, which all of you might think I'm dumb for. 1 Infinity. My theory here is that... my theory with it is just... I haven't gotten into the Waking the Dragons, or I haven't seen a deck that I had to worry about my back row. but it's just in there in case if your opponent wants to say, okay, I want to kill this, hit that, and if they don't have that many big monsters, you just slap the Infinity on board, and then you get the free. And I wanted to play Xyz Reborn in this deck to plus off of it, so I would go Cyber Dragon Infinity with already Toad on the field, take their monster, set it on my field with Toad, and then if my Infinity stays as long as it can, or Monster Reborn it back, and then steal their monster and just go for game. That's the theory, but I haven't tried it out yet because I haven't seen a game where I needed to. Most of the times, this deck either goes into it. For the Link monsters, Boral Sword, Borreload.
No explanation.
Because Borreload I prefer Boral Sword over Borreload in this deck only for the simple fact you only need Borreload for very problematic cards, and you rarely ever see that. Boral Sword is basically totally awesome. Boral Sword, Swing Toad, Boral Sword, effective Boral Sword, game. So it's just that one hit KO. Borreload, I'd never seen a problem with him in the deck. I might switch him out for another Boral Sword if I ever get it, if I really want to. But I don't see right now a reason to change this. For my third one, Triple Burst Dragon. This is a very good card if you use him right. I've never had a game where he's really needed, but it's basically to unbrick all your Toads. I've been in games where I've had 3 Paleozoic monsters, and I've never been able to go into Borreload or Boral Sword, so I'll just go into him, negate on the battles, and not have to care. He helps you out a lot, he negates, he also does piercing, so it's always the helpful. For the 2s, we have Arkansas Magician, because I can never say the name properly, and the Mistar Boy. Mistar Boy is the main star. I'd take her out for one other one, because he just makes everything better. You go into the combo with going into your Mistar Boy. Mistar Boy gives +5 to all your Aqua monsters, so you'll be sitting at a 27 attack. Pele's totally awesome. And you won't have to care. And he'll be 19. And most of the time, your opponent would have to remove him before removing the Toad, only for the simple fact that your Toad will be too big to beat over. So he helps you out beyond all. He helps you out too much. I think he's too good in this deck. For the Super Poly targets, we have 1 Starving Venom for any of the dark players, and like 1 World Chalice Guard Dragon. Almeradix. I don't know how to say his name because no one ever plays him and says it online, so. And 1 of the Solomon Great Violet Chimera. I've gone into these guys multiple times. I went into him once, and it was hilarious. If you're a Solomon Great player, don't go into all 3 of your links. I will use this against you. Because I played a game where the thing about it is that I played a game where I opened up 2 Super Polys. My opponent went double link. I said, okay. He went into his Xyz monster off his link monster. I don't know why. I super played that, made the Chimera, swung for 48. He killed my Chimera, and then he's put out 3 more link monsters. I drew it to another, and with the other super play, I went into my Guard Dragon and killed him for game. Because he just doesn't get affected. He doesn't have to worry about anything. And most of the time, it's just helpful to have these monsters. If there is anything I could change in this deck, I'd want to have, I'd take out the Infinity possibly for a Ultimate Falcon. I'd probably take out I'd probably add another Silent Graveyard, add Xyz Reborn in my main deck. What I am planning to do with the deck is make it a 60 card variant instead of a 40 card because it just seems more consistent. But the consistency in this one is basically you either go into your Frog combos or Paleozoic combos, and that's it. But that's me, that's Crow from Ghostly Snails. Shout out to Ghostly Snails. Shout out to everybody else. Yo, my boy JJ. But in all seriousness though, thank you guys for being patient with us. We haven't put out a video in a long while. We are working to have a schedule. We'll probably put that out on.
I want to get a Facebook.
We're trying to get a Facebook. We're trying to do a lot of stuff for the channel.
I'll look into that.
This guy behind the camera will look into it. But thank you all for being patient with us. This deck is just one of the few decks that I wanted to play for a while. I never got to because back in the day, I played Burning Abyss. Farfa, I'm looking at you.
Don't sue, please.
please subscribe. But it's basically the deck. That's it. That's my frog deck. Thank you all for watching.
Peace.